Namaste everyone, welcome back children. Children, as we have picked up the topic birds, and in our previous video we have already talked about the different types of beaks of birds. Today in this video session we'll talk about the different types of feet and claws of birds. So first of all, you should understand that different types of feet and claws, or the shape of feet and claws, it largely depends upon the type of food the birds eat and the place they live in. And they use their feet and claws for walking, climbing, or holding food. And claws, they also have long curved nails which birds use for their self defense, and that means to protect themselves from any kind of harm. So let us talk about different types of birds with their different types of feet and claws. So our today's topic is types of claws. So children, let us understand what all different types of claws we are going to take under our study today. So first we'll talk about the praying birds like eagle. Then we'll talk about the claws of perching birds like sparrow, claws of scratching birds like hen, claws of climbing birds like woodpecker, and claws of swimming birds like duck, claws of wading birds like heron, and at the last we'll take up the claws of running birds like ostrich. So before we take up the different types of claws, let us quickly understand what are birds. So birds are animals with their bodies covered with feathers. They have a pair of wings and a pair of legs and feet. They do not have teeth but a hard beak instead. Now if we talk about the types of feet and claws, we know that birds, they have 2 feet and 3 or 4 toes in each feet. They use their feet to move on the ground or hold food and branches of trees while sitting, or we call that process as perching as well. So with this, let us move on to the first type of feet and claws, and these are of praying birds. So eagle, hawk, owl, vulture, they come in the category of praying birds. These are the birds that eat flesh. They have very sharp and curved claws called talons. They have 3 toes in front and one at the back. They use their toes to catch small birds and animals like rats, toads, etc. So that means these claws of praying birds are also called talons. And talons have 3 toes in the front, as you can see here, and one at the back. And talons are very important for these birds of prey to stay alive. Why? Because they won't be able to hunt their food without talons. And the birds of prey are also called raptors. And the type of claws they are called talons. So that was about the types of feet and claws of praying birds. So with this, let us move on to the next type of claws, and these are of perching birds. As I told you, perching means sitting on the branches. So birds like pigeon, crow, sparrow, nightingale, etc., they sit on the branches. These birds sit and sleep on the branches of the trees. They have 3 toes in front and one behind, with which they hold the branches. So you can see here how they are holding the branching. So they have long cylinder claws, and as you can see, the 3 toes in the front and one at the back. So that was about the feet and claws of perching birds. So with this, let us move on to the next type of feet and claws, and that is of scratching birds. So hen and peacock, they fall in the category of scratching birds. They have thin feet with sharp claws. They have 3 toes in front and one short toe higher up on the leg at back. These toes help them to dig the ground and find food. So as you can see here, the 3 toes in the front and one at the back. So basically what happens is, this type of claws, they help the bird to scratch the ground or the fallen leaves. So that they can uncover the seeds or insects which are hiding in the ground or under the leaves. So this is how these claws help these birds to find food. So with this, we'll move on to the next category, and that is the climbing birds. So woodpecker and parrot, etc. are the examples of climbing birds. These birds climb trees and hold on to the branches. They have two toes in front and two behind, which help them to balance while climbing. So till now we have talked about such birds which have three toes in the front and one at the back. But this is a special case. As you can see here also, you can see the woodpecker and its toes. There are two toes in the front and two at the back. So basically these toes, they help in maintaining balance while climbing. So with this children, let us move on to another very interesting category of feet and claws, and that is of swimming or aquatic birds. So duck and swan are examples of aquatic birds. So these birds have webbed feet. They have three toes in front which are joined by skin called web. They use their webbed feet as paddle to push water while swimming. So as you can see here, the webbed feet of duck, and if we look at this picture, you will see that there are three toes in the front and one small at the back, and front three toes are joined together with the help of skin, and they form a web-like structure, and they use as paddle to push the water while swimming. So with this, we'll move on to the another type of feet and claws, and that is of wading birds. So heron and crane, etc. are the examples of wading birds. These birds walk in shallow waters. Shallow means which is not very deep. Walking in shallow water is called wading. They have long legs to keep their body above the water. They have three toes in front and one at the back. The toes are thin and well spread out so that they do not get stuck in soft mud. So as they have to walk in muddy water, so what happens is, first of all, they have long legs so that their whole body, it does not get wet in water, and then they have again three toes in the front, one at the back, but the toes are spread out widely so that the birds do not get stuck in mud. So children, with this, let us move on to the last category of feet and claws, and that is running birds. Ostrich is an example of running birds. We know ostriches, they run very fast. These birds can run very fast on ground. They have long and strong legs. They have only two toes with cushioned pads underneath that prevent them from sinking in the desert sand. So as you can see here, the ostrich, right, with long legs to run fast, and these are the toes of ostrich. So basically only two toes with good padding under the toes so that it can withstand the heat of the desert sand. So children, with this, let us move on to the keywords. So first is talons. Sharp curved claws of flesh-eating birds are called talons. Wading, walking in shallow water, and perching is sitting on something high and narrow, such as on branches of trees. So with this, let us move on to the recapitulation section. Let us try to answer these questions to know how much we have understood about different types of feet and claws. First of all, ostrich has padded feet. That is true. Heron has webbed feet. Heron is a bird that wades in shallow water. So that means they are wading birds. So they do not have webbed feet. So this is false. Woodpecker is a perching bird. No, woodpecker is a climbing bird. So again this is false. Hen has scratching feet. That is true. Duck has webbed feet. That is again true. And eagle has talons. Yes, eagles are flesh-eating birds and their feet and claws are also called talons. So that is again true. So with this, let us take up the question answer section. What are talons? Describe claws of climbing birds. Describe webbed feet. And describe claws of wading birds. So I hope after going through this video session you are able to answer these questions. But if you still have doubts, you can go to the video slides number as mentioned here for your answers. So children, that was all about different types of claws of birds. But before we leave, I want to show you some models of different types of claws. These are simple models made up of bendable straws. So children, here we have the model of the claws of birds of prey. And we know that birds of prey, they have strong, sharp talons which help them to catch hold of their prey. And as you can see here, there are 3 toes in the front and 1 at the back. And what are the examples of birds of prey? The vulture, eagle, the owl and hawk are the examples of birds of prey. And now we have this model of claws of climbing birds. And we know that climbing birds, they have 2 toes in the front and 2 at the back. And these type of toes, they help them to climb on the trees and to maintain balance as well. And the examples of climbing birds are the woodpecker and the parrot. And then we have another category of birds, and these are perching birds, which most of the time sit on the branches and they even sleep while sitting. And this process is also called perching. So again, they have 3 toes in the front and 1 at the back. And examples of perching birds are the pigeon, sparrow, crow, etc. And children, now we have a very unique category of birds, and these are swimming birds. We know that duck, the swan, they have this type of feet. Again, 3 toes in the front, 1 at the back, but these 3 front toes are joined with skin, giving it a web-like appearance so that they can paddle and push the water and they can swim in the water. So children, that was all about different types of claws of birds. With this, we come to the end of this session. So until next, take care of yourselves.